You finally got what you wanted, the thing you worked for, the thing you thought about every day, the thing you believed would change everything. And for a moment, it did. You felt it, that small rush, that quiet satisfaction, that voice in your head saying, "This is it." But then it faded. Not slowly, not over months, sometimes in days, sometimes in hours. And now you're left with something you didn't expect, a strange emptiness, and a question you weren't prepared for. Why doesn't this feel like enough? Most people try to explain it away. Maybe the goal wasn't big enough. Maybe you aimed too low. Maybe you picked the wrong thing. Or maybe you just need more. So you do what everyone does. You set a new goal, something bigger, something better, something that will finally fix the feeling. And for a while, it works again. You feel motivated, focused, driven, because now you have something to chase. But the ending is always the same. You get there, and the feeling disappears. Again and again and again. Until one day, you start to notice the pattern. And that's when it becomes uncomfortable. Because it forces you to consider something you don't want to believe. What if the problem isn't the goal? What if the problem is you? But it's not. It's your brain. Your brain is not designed to make you feel satisfied. It's designed to keep you moving. Before you achieve something, your brain is full of anticipation. It imagines the reward. It predicts the outcome. It builds a future where everything feels better. And that anticipation is what creates motivation, not the reward itself, the pursuit. That's what your brain actually cares about. Because while you're chasing something, everything feels meaningful. Progress feels real. Movement feels important. Even small steps feel like they matter. But the moment you reach the goal, that entire system shuts off. The anticipation disappears. The future becomes the present. And your brain stops releasing the same signals that made you feel driven. So what you're left with is not satisfaction. It's silence. And your brain doesn't interpret that silence as peace. It interprets it as something missing. So you feel empty. Not because something is wrong, but because the system that was keeping you engaged just turned off. And that's where the trap begins. Because your brain immediately tries to fix that feeling by giving you something new to chase. A new goal, a new target, a new version of this will finally make you feel complete. And you believe it because it worked before, at least for a while. So you start again, and the cycle repeats, over and over and over. But there's something deeper happening underneath all of this, something most people never realize. When you're chasing a goal, you're not just working towards something, you're becoming someone. You're building an identity. The person who wakes up early, the person who works hard, the person who is on the way. And that identity gives your life structure. It tells you who you are, what you're doing, why it matters. It organizes your entire life around movement. But when you reach the goal, that structure disappears. There's nothing left to organize around. No direction, no tension. And without that, you don't just lose the goal. You lose the version of yourself that was chasing it. And that's what feels empty. Not your life, your identity. You don't know who you are without the chase. And that's why the feeling is so uncomfortable. Because it forces you into a space where there is no clear answer, no clear direction, just you. And most people can't sit there for long. So they escape it with another goal, another chase, another temporary identity. But the cycle doesn't stop because it was never about the goal in the first place. You weren't chasing success, you were chasing meaning. The feeling that what you're doing matters. The feeling that you're moving towards something important. The feeling that your life has direction. And goals are just one way to create that feeling. But they're temporary. They always end. So the real question isn't, what goal should I chase next? It's, what am I building my life around? Because if your life is built around outcomes, you will always feel empty when you reach them. But if your life is built around direction, something changes. Because direction doesn't end. It doesn't disappear when you arrive somewhere. It continues. And that means the feeling of meaning doesn't depend on a single moment. It exists the entire time. You're not waiting to feel something. You're already inside it. And that removes the need for constant chasing. You can still set goals. You can still achieve things. But they're no longer responsible for your sense of meaning. They're just part of the path, not the destination. And that changes everything. Because now, you don't need the next achievement to feel complete. You don't need the next milestone to define you. You're not chasing a moment that fixes everything. You're building something that doesn't disappear when you reach it. And that feeling doesn't fade.